All right, ladies and gentlemen, we can go ahead and get started. Had to grab my phone so that way I can see chat off to the side. Thank you all for being here. It's time for more Hunter x Hunter. And then after lunch, we're continuing with more Borderlands because I really want to get back to playing more and more of that game so I can start messing with a whole bunch of other stuff as well. But let's begin with today's chapter, shall we? Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here. Welcome back to more Hunter x Hunter. In the last volume, we had Gon and Killua going out to an auction in order to get their hands on a gaming console because Gon's father, Gin, decided to leave him something in order to try and find him. But in order for him to actually be able to do that, he needs to get his hands on a console that is so exceedingly rare that the only way you can get it is by taking part in an auction that only hunters can have access to. Also, while that's going on, this group, which doesn't have an official name yet that's appeared in the chapters themselves, they've appeared and decided, you know what? We're going, I'm glad I called you all here. The leader says, I'm glad I called you all here. We're going to raid this entire auction and kill everyone inside. So, with that, we are going to be continuing with Volume 9 of the series. And it encompasses, and this time, I am going to be reading the correct chapter. This time, chapter 74 all the way to 83. Also, another thing, Kurapika is in charge of bodyguard duty for a mobster's daughter, and she's also at this auction as well. So, lot of chaos. Chapter 74, September 1st, Part 3. Hey, it's October 2nd. It would have been funny if I started this where I read September 1st on September 1st, but them's the breaks. But also, Ogata, good to see you. Hi everyone, finally caught up to you guys, and wow, what an end to Volume 8, can't wait for 9. Also, Mihai as well. Yes, welcome. Let's begin. Chapter 74, September 1st, Part 3. Season's greetings from Yoshihiro Togashi. And we have Kurapika, who's watching all sorts of commotion happening at the front of the building. Because he's there with Melody. Something's happened. And he's looking through his binoculars, and he sees multiple cars pull up to the front of the auction house, and multiple people start to get out quickly. Their guns are drawn. Call Dalzolin. And then Kurapika's talking to Dalzolin, going, "You two, head over at once. I'll coordinate the others. Let's go."
Right behind you.
And they start running, and then we cut back to the auditorium while a siren is going off, and people are wondering, like, what the heck? Where's everyone?
Not a single god or guest remains.
Because one of the members of this group has a vacuum that she uses that is capable of vacuuming literally everything, including body parts, gore, everything. Blood too, so that not even a drop of blood is left. So there's no evidence left behind that every single person inside of that one auditorium has been completely and utterly massacred. Not a single god or guest remains.
They're gone! Yeah, we checked.
The other lookouts have arrived. It's mass hysteria. Looks like everyone at the venue vanished.
Find them!
Out of my way! The items up for auction tonight are gone! Everything was stolen? Do they think they can make fools of the Mafia?
Where'd they go? Must have gone through the roof!
And all the people who are in charge of bodyguarding, but also enforcing this auction, they're all upset that someone would dare steal from them. And then we cut to another panel that shows this very large hot air balloon just above everybody.
Inform all the families in York New. Follow any suspicious blimps and take them down. Take their leader alive. A reward will be offered from the community to the family that catches them.
And mind you, this is a very big balloon that's just floating over the city. Alright, we'll capture these thieves ourselves. I'm heading over, and this is Dalzolin. We'll meet at the overpass along Central Square. Squaller, leave 5 dogs behind, just in case.
Don't let them bust out of your sight.
And don't let anyone in. And then the other people who are supposed to be looking after Neon, they was all like, okay. And then we get Karapika. Offering a reward will backfire.
Yeah,
Ambition will override any cooperation between families.
Dowselin appears to be caught up in it already.
And then we cut to an empty building. And the leader, Krollo, he's sitting there in front of his people going, empty? And then we have Hisoka, we have this one woman, we have the other people that were there inside of this abandoned building listening to Krollo say, like, hey, we're gonna go and raid this place. And we cut back to the other members who are in this giant hot air balloon going, yeah, there was nothing in the vault. According to the auctioneer, all the items were relocated somewhere else a few hours ago. As if they've been expecting this all along. And then Krollo is just smiling, going, oh? Their timing was too perfect. There's a Judas among us, Krollo. No, there isn't. Besides, I don't consider Judas to be a traitor. They say Judas sold Jesus for 30 silver coins. How much would this traitor sell us out for? Think about it. What would he gain by selling us to the Mafia? Money? Fame? Status? And then it cuts to the eyes of Hisoka, but it's not really insinuating anything at the moment. Would that really gratify any one of us? No, nobody's like that. Right. And one more thing. Say there was an informant. The Mafia's response sounds pitifully inadequate. We're Class A bounties. If they had really known we were coming, shouldn't the security have been on higher alert? From what you tell me, the Mafia had only decided to be a little more cautious than usual. The guests weren't warned. They came unarmed. So, here's my theory. They got a tip, but it wasn't very specific. Even so, someone in the Mafia top brass trusted the source enough to do something about it. And everyone is just listening to Krollo go through this whole thing. I don't really get how this information is traveling. Well, whatever. So what should we do? Did you ask where the items went? Yeah, but the auctioneer insisted he didn't know up until he died. Phaeton worked him over good, so it's the truth. I feel most sorry for him. Oh, so we have the name of one of them, Chloro and Phaeton. But he told you who would know? Of course. The Mafia controls the underground auction. Their leaders, the 10 Dons, each have their own turf in 10 regions on 6 continents. This is the one time in the year the 10 gather in one place, discuss their plans and issue orders. Their much vaunted shadow beasts execute those orders. Each Don contributed their best man to the team. I see. The fact that they weren't even there lends more credence to the theory that they didn't know we were coming. That's true. Security was laughably light. So how did they transport the items? That's the thing. One of the shadow beasts showed up by himself. Change of plans. The vault was 25 square meters full of stuff. He had no tools and left empty-handed. The vault, empty. Sorry, had cereal not too long ago. But dude walks in there, and then the auctioneer, he's just looking dumbfounded at the fact that the vault he was once standing in full of stuff, and mind you, we don't see the stuff. He's standing in there, and there's nothing inside the vault. It was a tall guy who called himself Owl. So, he has a Nen ability similar to Shizuku's. Probably. Ah, Shizuku as well. Shizuku is the woman with the vacuum. So he has a Nen ability similar to Shizuku's. Probably. The Mafia should have realized by now that since 500 guests vanished, they must be dealing with Nen.
So we can take them on, can't we?
Sure. Make a big enough disturbance to draw out the shadow beasts. And that's the end of chapter 74. Nice! I'm happy that I got through that one relatively quickly. And then we have Gon, who's taking, we have this little mini snippet off to the side called 2000. And we have Gon going,
Last chance. What do you say?
baseball starting lineup.
We told you it's 5 syllables.
This strip was originally published in what is it? Hold on. In E-Jump, January 18th, 2000. 2000. Gon is mouthing Nisei-en, which spells out the year 2000 in Japanese. Editorial note. All right, onwards to chapter 75. I'm liking this story, I really am. Chapter 75, September 1st, Part 4.
It's a hot air balloon! They're headed towards Gordo Desert. After them!
A hot air balloon? Not an airstrip? Then where are the guests? And that's when some of the hired hands are going,
It could be this isn't just any armored heist. Call the Dons! We need the Shadow Beasts!
and all of the people who are looking up, all of these henchmen are just looking up at this hot air balloon that's carrying all these people. And then we have another section, September 1st, Part 4. Yeah, Chapter 75, September 1st, Part 4. And apparently they shot down the balloon.
Get down here! We'll let you decide if you want a regular or watery grave!
And it's just full of all of these mafia henchmen. Then we get the people who are following Crollo.
Look at the reception we got.
I don't
have to clean this up, do I?
Nah.
And this is Shizuku asking, and this is Phaeton saying,
Nah, you don't have to.
Then we got the big burly dude, the big hairy dude with the big hair and the hairy arms.
I'll take care of him. You guys stay out of it.
And he jumps down. Because they're inside of this giant ravine. And they're on the opposite side of all these henchmen. He's the one sole person that jumps down. And he starts walking towards them. And one of the henchmen is all like, wait. And he walks up to him.
Did you kidnap the guests?
Yeah.
Did you think you'd get away with it, punk? Who's your leader?
And big hairy dude just smiles at him. And then henchman just fires. And mind you, he has a gun pointed straight towards his face. Like, right here. He just fires off a shot right at the gun's face. And the dude's head reels back. And then the dude who shot him looks in horror because this dude leans his head back and shows that he caught the bullet in his teeth. Bullet still smoking. Dude's holding it in his teeth. And not only is he holding it in his teeth, but he's bending the bullet while he's biting down on it. And then he just casually swipes his hand to the side and breaks dude's neck. Dude looks like he's enacting Zomari Roru's Brujeria Resurrection from Bleach. And then we get narration from him while he just broke this dude's neck.
I wanted to be stronger than anything. Simply to be strong.
And while he says this, he got the dude whose neck he just snapped. He's got his head in his hand and he's crushing his head while he's got his whole body flipped upside down. And then we get big dude with the machine gun fingers going,
It's gorilla versus ants. Guns will never be able to scratch him. His body, most strong of us all.
They just keep coming.
Can't they see they're only gonna end up dead?
And it cuts back to this dude who apparently has been shot at. Yeah, he's been shot at. But he's also killed numerous people already, and it's like the bullets don't even bother him.
This won't even get me warmed up before the shadow beasts get here.
And it looks like someone is aiming at this dude with a sniper rifle. And he fires, and it shows the bullet moving faster. And he empowers himself with Nen, and it causes the bullets to just bounce off.
Oh, that hurt. Snipers, huh?
And he's looking far away into the distance. He's looking far into the distance on a distant plateau where you can't even see anyone standing on it. And he just goes,
There they are.
What the? Rifle slugs didn't work?
Sneaking cowards. I hate people like that.
and then he walks. While he starts walking towards them, he picks up a rock and he chucks it. He chucks it in their direction, and he winds up killing one dude, throwing a rock completely through his torso, and then he takes out the other guy who's looking dumbfounded at the other sniper who just got taken out, and his face just disappears. It's not even like it's gone. It's more like it just disintegrates from the force. You see a once whole face just decide to see other people. Just decides, you know what? I don't like being attached to a cheek no more. The nose saying, I don't like being attached to the front anymore. The ear saying, I don't like being on the side of the noggin anymore. Just tears the whole face off.
Got him! Perfect shot!
And then we get one dude with one hefty dude with a bazooka.
You monster! This super bazooka trashes tanks! I'll blow you to bits! Just a tank? You hurt my feelings, man.
And he just puts his hand up.
Joy!
And then he shoots him. And there's a massive explosion. And mind you, Karapika and the other dude, they start rolling up. The dude with the handlebar mustache, whose name escapes me at the moment. Names escape me a lot when it comes to manga sometimes. Please forgive me. They watch as this dude gets engulfed in this explosion.
Yeah, he got him!
And the smoke clears, and the dude's shadow is seen inside the smoke, still taking that same stance earlier. Mind you, he'd empowered himself up with Nen, so he kind of guarded against it, but you see the scorch marks all over his body, and his hair is frizzed up as a result.
Okay, that hurt.
And everyone is all like, ah! And they just take off running, because they realize if this dude can't die to a bazooka that can take out tanks, there's nothing we can do, so everyone starts running.
Ha! As if you're getting away.
And then we get to Karapika and the bodyguards of Neon as he's going,
What was that blast? Over there.
and then Karapika's looking, and he goes,
The enemy uses Nen too.
and then Dowselin is going, ugh. And then
The enemy uses Nen too.
and Dowselin is looking while Karapika continues to watch as this big burly dude is tearing people apart. Literally. Heads are flying off, torsos are deciding, you know what, I don't like this waist anymore, I'm gonna go in that direction, legs, you go over there. He's just tearing people apart with his bare hands.
The enemy uses Nen too, and he's incredibly powerful. The men who got there first are all dead. Firearms are useless. Take a look. You'll see the enormity of his aura and the piles of corpses.
Who is he?
Gah! He's ripping people apart with his bare hands. You can't make me go up there. You can't make me go up there.
Yeah, we don't stand a chance. Maybe, but we can't back out without trying.
Give me a break. And then it cuts to Melody, who's just thinking to herself. And then Karapika,
What's wrong? I hear an extra heartbeat.
and then Karapika focuses, and then it looks like he immediately jumps away because he looks down at him, and it shows that something has tunneled directly next to them. and they didn't even notice. And then something starts to get out of the ground, and it looks like some sort of creature, but it also has like a very, very, very humanoid body, and he wiggles his way out of the ground like he's some sort of worm or something. Like he literally has like a worm-shaped head.
I'm a shadow beast. Name's Worm.
Oh, his actual name is Worm. He's just this weird-looking dude with a head shaped like a worm wearing a Speedo. I am not going to get that side out of my head for the rest of the day.
Whose family are you?
Rich family. We're Mr. Nostrade's bodyguards.
I suggest you stay out of this.
And then other people appear. Other people appear around the bodyguards.
They're not just petty thieves.
Yep, killing's a part of their daily lives. Yep, they're pros.
Leave this to us.
When did they? And all of these people just pop up out of nowhere. No one noticed them, and they start walking forward.
Let the experts handle it.
And we get Worm going back into the ground again. It's so weird. And we get the names of them. One dude with a low-cut shirt and long sleeve sweater. A long sleeve sweater with a low-cut neckline. His name is Rabbit Dog. Then you have the bald dude who's basically the Krillin of this group. His name is Porcupine. And then you have a bigger dude with a bit of a keg belly by the name of Leech. And then we get the people who killed all of those mafia members. One of them goes, Bull.
Yuck. They hear.
And big burly dude, who has the symbol of the Phantom Troop on his back, he's standing there, and he's in front of, I guess, the Shadow Beasts.
The Shadow Beasts, I presume. Where'd you put the auction loot?
What did you do with the guests?
We killed them. Where are the goods? If you don't tell me...
And it shows Worm has just appeared directly behind this guy. And punches him directly in the face. And you can just hear the sound of this punch resonate throughout the canyon, while the other Shadow Beasts are starting to rush him. But then Worm is surprised and hears a crack sound because he looks and goes, huh? Because it shows his hand. That was nice and firm when he punched old big burly guy. But now he's looking at it, and his fingers are pointing in directions that fingers should not be pointing in. With the bones sticking through places bones should not be sticking out of, period, in a hand. And burly guy just smiles at him and goes,
not bad.
And proceeds to not only punch Worm in the face, but hit him so hard he literally craters his head and pops an eyeball out. Bloodies his nose, and teeth go flying out as well. And then the rest of the members of this group, they're all just playing cards.
Bull.
Jack. And that's the end of chapter 75. Onwards to chapter 76, the Shadow Beast just showed up. And in the very same chapter one of them just showed up in, he's already getting jacked up. Onwards to chapter 76. Chapter 76, September 1st, part 5. And we get the name of one of the members of this group, the dude with the drop-down fingers and the machine guns in each of them. Franklin, that's his name. So now I know what to call him. Hey, it's Franklin. Franklin, emitter. He modified his fingertips into guns, from which he shoots out chunks of aura, Nen bullets. Of course, this would be possible without cutting the fingers off, but he did it because he felt it would be more effective. In fact, the destructive force of each bullet improved dramatically. Willingness to go the extra mile and the addition of restrictions can greatly enhance Nen abilities. And then it cuts back to Burly Dude, and he just proceeds to punch Worm in the face and pretty much break his face. which surprises the rest of the shadow beasts who are there. And the dude is smiling, but then Worm grabs onto his arm. He grabs onto his arm and then just starts tunneling underground and drags him down in there.
Huh?
You can't escape now. Make your choice. Have me kill you underground, or have the others do it above?
So he's holding on to dude underground while the rest of the shadow beasts are bearing down on him.
The fool!
And he starts flexing and his muscles get bigger and bigger.
You're the one who can't escape.
And then the one dude with the blonde hair, and I know it's blonde because I remember him having blonde hair in the anime, he goes,
Hey, look! Uvo means business.
and this big burly dude's name is Uvo. And I want to zoom in and make sure that it is a U. Yeah, Uvo. U-V-O.
Hey, look!
Uvo means business. And Worm is shocked while Uvo goes,
Big Bang Impact. Fist of Destruction!
and he hits the ground and literally creates a crater where I was about to call him Earthworm, where Worm was, and all we see is just where Uvo was, on the ground, held down, and everyone gets blasted back by this. Not only that, but Worm's hand is still attached to Uvo. Not the rest of them, though. And then they see the tattoo on his back.
The spider tattoo. So that's it. That's insane. I've never seen Nen use. I've never even seen Nen like this.
And then Karapika is looking at it and he sees the spider. We know what this particular spider means.
Spiders.
Not a trace left, poor guy.
The Big Bang Impact is as mighty as ever. Though it's just a regular punch infused with Nen.
Who wants to die first?
And this is Uvo talking to the Shadow Beast now.
The Phantom Troop.
Yep, he's cocky.
You're in for it now, fathead! You're in for it now, fathead!
And they all just rush him.
Good, I love how reckless you are. It'll get you dead.
And he goes to punch our little Krillin here, even though his name is Porcupine. He goes to punch Porcupine, and then all of a sudden, Porcupine erupts into spines all of a sudden.
Yep, I can manipulate my body here and turn it into sharp spikes. Yep, good punch, but there's no point if it won't reach me.
And then we have Rabbit Dog, and I literally just saw his name. And the fat dude. We have the fat dude coming up trying to flank him. And then all of a sudden, there's a snap in the shoulder of Uvo, and he has a chunk of his shoulder just missing. Because Rabbit Dog apparently rushed him and bit out a chunk of his shoulder. First of all, how you just gonna bite somebody and try to take a chunk out of them? Maybe it's just me, but just something about that just don't seem right at all. Just gonna bite somebody and then try to take some of their flesh off? No! You don't need to be doing all of that. That's extra. But then again, it's okay, you forgot his name as well. We literally just got his name in the last chapter. I was half tempted to go back. Oh, God. I was half tempted to go back there and get his name again, but I completely forgot it already. We have Rabbit Dog, Porcupine. Leech. That's his name, Leech. I knew it was something silly or something that I could easily forget, and his name was Leech. His name is Leech. I got it. But Leech is running next to him. Rabbit Dog takes out a chunk out of his shoulder. And Phaeton goes,
Hair and teeth broke Uvo's skin.
And then it cuts back to the other dude going,
You're quite disciplined. Good Nen.
Want some help, Uvogin?
or Uvogin. Or is it Uvogin?
Want some help, Uvogin?
Mind your own business. Why, you?
Can't fling me. Nope, not with thousands of hairs entwined.
Then I'll just use you as an extension of my fists.
And he tries to punch Leech, but Porcupine softens up his hair so that it doesn't actually injure Leech.
Yep, I can control it at will, so I can make some locks soft, too.
And all of a sudden, there's another snatch because Rabbit Dog came in and snatched another hunk of meat out of Uvo's knee. I'm just going to call him Uvo, because I don't know if it's properly pronounced Uvogin or Uvogene. But Rabbit Dog snatched out some meat from his knee.
You're making this too easy, musclehead.
Shut up!
And Uvo tries to hit him, but then he starts wobbling.
So it's finally starting to work. The neurotoxin I used for my fangs was supposed to be fast-acting. You'll be unaffected from the neck up, so you can feel fear and pain. Have fun.
Also, and I know I'm kind of late saying this while we're already in the midst of reading this. If you want to know where I'm reading, then Viz has it there. But if you don't want to go to Viz, then just look up Hunter x Hunter chapter 76, and I'm pretty sure the internet will give you plenty of choices to see what I'm seeing. I cannot go through another copyright thing again, so I can't show images to you. I apologize for that, but it's only to keep my ability to do my job safe. So he starts wobbling because of the neurotoxin, and he falls down.
You'll be unaffected from the neck up, so you can feel fear and pain. Have fun.
And then we have your girl that's laced up Hisoka going,
He would have won if it had been a lethal toxin. He probably enjoys torture.
and it shows Leech, and he's literally barfing leeches onto the open wound of Uvo. I completely forgot about this guy in the anime. That's nasty. That's nasty. He's just barfing leeches over his shoulder so that the maggots and everything can get inside of the wound.
I keep countless leeches, great and small, in my body. Leeches can be used for treatment, but many of them cause diseases. My gift to you is leeches that enter through a wound and lay eggs in the bladder. The best part is when millions of baby leeches burst through as you urinate. Most people die from the agony.
And then all of a sudden, Uvo spins around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Situation taken care of. That just snuck up on me out of nowhere. Sorry about that, everyone. But we're back with Leech, and once this is over, I'll cut out that whole part so we continue on. But he goes,
The best part is when millions of baby leeches burst through as you urinate. Most people die from the agony.
And in a single instance, Uvo swings his entire head around, and he bites a whole chunk out of Leech's head. In a single instance, he just bit half of his head off. Not even just the head part, like literally half of his face. Half of his face. That's disgusting. That's nasty. These jokers is nasty. Oh, snap. What happened to my chat? Refresh. What happened to my chat? There we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah. but he bit half of his face off.
Blech. And brains are supposed to be delicacies.
And then just Leech is dead. Just Leech is just straight up dead. And then blood just starts shooting out from the giant gaping cave-in of his skull. And then Mad Dog, being the only one left alive, is just, well, Mad Dog and Porcupine are still the only ones that are left. So Worm is dead, Leech is dead, and Mad Dog's looking like,
You're not the only one who can bite, you know.
And he just spits out what he had left in his mouth.
I only need to be able to move from my neck up to take care of all of you.
And he's just smiling. Teeth still stained with Leech's blood on him. And then he just breathes in, and then he spits something out, and it looks like a tooth. Or no, it's a piece of skull, and he goes,
A bullet? A piece of Leech's skull?
and he puts his hand up, but there's so much force behind it, it goes through his hand. Mind you, he's holding his hand in front of his face. It goes through his hand and then proceeds to dent in his face while it goes out the back of his skull. And then, after witnessing all of this, Porcupine is the only person who's still left alive for now. And then Uvo looks at him.
He can't hurt me. Yep, my hair will deflect any bullet.
And then, while Porcupine is still attached to him, he just goes, "Ha!" and says it as loud as he possibly can. So loud that it shakes the very valley itself. And all the other members of the troop have to put their hands on their ears. Even those who are far away have to put their hands up to their ears. And mind you, they're not even all that close. But the next thing that happens is Porcupine's eardrums burst. Just straight up. And you see blood coming out of his eyes, but you see all the blood shooting out of the side of his head. So, yeah, Porcupine, he's dead too. And then he just tosses Porcupine's lifeless body, which has now lessened up the hairs, and he just tosses it off of him.
Needles can't deflect sound.
And then we get Franklin going, "You wanna bust our eardrums too?" Warn us first!
Sorry, but would have given him a heads up. Besides, you're fast enough to cover your ears before the sound reaches you.
True.
So who cares? Shizuku, could you get Blicky to suck up the poison and the leeches?
The poison, yeah, but not living things.
What? Oh, crap.
And then the dude with the blonde hair, he hops down and goes,
This is a spotted leech. They reach the bladders of men and beasts in 24 hours, lay eggs, and die. The eggs hatch and get excreted along with urine. The pain will be enough to kill you. But an alkaline environment is required for the eggs to hatch. The unhatched eggs will pass painlessly with the urine if the pH is too low. From now until this time tomorrow, drink beer constantly and pee as much as possible. Once your urine turns from black to white, you're in the clear.
And dude just casually giving him medical advice. And then Karapika starts walking forward.
Karapika, what are you doing?
Going to capture him. What else?
You saw how ferocious he was!
It makes no difference.
And all the other bodyguards are taken back. He starts walking away, and everyone is taken aback by Karapika and being all like super chill about all this. And then it shows Earthworm, who's still alive somehow, as he's tunneling out of the dirt, going,
Yeah, spiders. Get everyone over, or we're in trouble.
And then we cut back to the abandoned building where Crollo and the rest of this band are chilling out, waiting for the rest to return. And Hisoka starts walking.
Oh, almost forgot. I had a promise to meet someone today. Go ahead. Be back by 6 p.m. tomorrow. Up to no good again, Hisoka? Of course.
And then it cuts to a different building where Leorio, Gon, and Killua are chilling at.
Leorio, that's called 10, and
What? There's more?
figured as much.
And that's the end of chapter 76. Onwards to chapter 77. And I pressed the button too quickly. Chapter 77, September 1st, Part 6. And everyone on bodyguard duty is trying to, reason with Kurapika. Wait, Kurapika, you'll die for sure. We'll go back and regroup. And then Melody is just thinking,
His heartbeat is one of violent anger and hatred. Kurapika must be blinded with rage. This is certain death.
Do you hear me? That's an order!
and he goes to grab, and Dalzalin goes to try and grab Kurapika, and then it cuts to flowers all of a sudden. It looks like the entire environment has changed into that of flowers, and it shows Melody playing on a flute, and everyone has apparently calmed down and stopped.
A field in spring. It's perfect for relaxing. Is everyone calm down now? Let's plan our strategy with level heads.
Huh?
Yeah.
And then Kurapika lets out a sigh and he smiles. And he quietly motions over to Melody and goes,
Melody, I'm all right now. Thanks.
and she just winks at him and smiles.
But I'm still going to capture him.
What?
Dalzalin, let me do it. I stand a good chance.
Chapter 77, September 1st, Part 6. Shizuku, Conjurer. And this is the woman that has the big old super powerful vacuum. Shizuku, Conjurer. She uses Blinky. Not Blicky, but Blinky. She uses Blinky, a conjured vacuum cleaner, as a weapon. It sucks up anything that Shizuku wants. However, it cannot suck up anything that she considers living. It can also regurgitate the last thing it sucked up. Not even Shizuku knows where it all goes. And then it has the rest of the troop just down there checking up on Uvo.
Shizuku, can you suck out the poison?
I'm coming.
Someone steal a case of beer. And then dude looks back, same one who told Uvo that this is what you need to do in order to get those leeches out of your body. All of a sudden, there's a jangling sound all over Uvo as he's suddenly covered in chains out of nowhere. And even he's looking confused as to how this went down.
What?
And then it shows Uvo being grabbed. It shows Uvo being grabbed and yanked away from the group while everyone's looking. And then the girl that was able to stitch up Hisoka throws a needle in that direction of where he's being yanked. Did you see that?
Yeah, a chain wrapped around his body. Another shadow beast? Uvo can't move. And he still has those leeches.
Another shadow beast. Uvo can't move. And he still has those leeches in him.
Guess we'll have to go save him.
And then the one who stitched up Hisoka, whose name escapes me once again, goes,
We can find out where he's going. Een makes my thread invisible. Unless they use Kyo or notice the needle, this thread will track them to the ends of the earth.
All right, let's catch up before they figure it out. We might be able to net the rest of the shadow beasts.
Oh, I'll go fetch the beer.
And then it cuts back to Uvo, who's now currently in the car with Kurapika, Svala, and Melody.
Hey, you think this chain's got me captured? You better kill me now, or you'll regret it later.
Silence.
This is your only chance. You'd better.
And then all of a sudden, Uvo looks down and the chains get bigger and get bigger on him.
The chains are bigger, stronger.
Kurapika, keep eyes on the road!
I told you to be quiet.
And it shows Kurapika is using just one chain to bind Uvo while he's still driving.
A nen chain?
Chain jail. The restraining middle finger.
Poison may have paralyzed me, but that has nothing to do with it. He infused this little chain with enough power to hold me?
This ability I will use only on the spiders. Its sole purpose is to capture them and deprive them of their liberty. If I use this ability on anyone else, I will instantly lose my life. This is my vow, a self-imposed restriction and proof of my resolve.
And it shows that on his heart is an actual pendant that's directly on his heart right now.
Eyes on the road, please!
This contract with my Nen carries a risk, but its reward is greater power.
And it's literally like, I don't think it's on his heart, I think it's in his heart. It's like this little small pendant dagger shaped thing, and it's very sharp, and it's either laying on his heart or it's in his heart. I can't necessarily tell. I think it's inside of his heart. But it shows them driving, and another car is directly behind them.
The car's coming up behind us. They're gunning it.
They found us! Kurapika, go faster! They're catching up!
And then it cuts to Kurapika going,
But how? We're deliberately moving away from the city. Could it be?
and then it shows Kurapika focusing on Uvo, and he notices a glint off of him. And they realize that it's a Nen thread. There's a Nen thread! Squala! Squala! Not Spala, not Svala, but Squala.
Squala, there's something on his left calf!
And Squala takes that needle out.
They found it.
Tight feet.
We've caught up. Good enough.
And it shows someone jumping on top of the car of the troop chasing after them, and it's some dude with glasses on, with really big eyes, magic fun cloth, convenient kerchief, and he covers the car completely in this giant handkerchief. And they go speeding off. Well, not really. They go speeding off. They start swerving all over the road, but then the handkerchief starts to wrap around the car. And then it starts to sink smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it's barely this big. And we hear voices inside.
What the? Let me out!
And then the dude speaks.
You're no average Joes to have reacted fast enough to get out of that car. I better stay on guard.
Because it shows that not everyone got caught up in this handkerchief. There are still other members of this troop who are perfectly fine. But then we have Phaeton.
Nobunaga had bad position.
What a fascinating ability.
So
anything wrapped in that cloth turns small. Looks like the ultimate klepto accessory.
he could carry all the auction items in his pocket. So he's the transporter. That means he can turn them back to normal size.
And that's when everyone is looking around because we get more people. And I believe these are more shadow beasts who have dropped in on their current location. And there's just silence. We get one dude with big lips and this rubber hosey type outfit. One dude in a jacket and a low neckline shirt, just chilling with black leather pants. One dude standing in the distance, what looks to be like an old man with an incredibly wrinkled forehead down to his nose. And one dude, and just one thing that looks to be like a bat creature of some kind.
What the heck? Are they really the Phantom Troop? They look weak.
Huh? There are 10 shadow beasts in all, right? This is all of them.
Odd. Guy with chain still in car with Uvo.
He's not an SB?
Easy. Ask them, and we find out.
And that's the end of chapter 77. Onwards to chapter 78. How's everyone holding up? Y'all holding up okay? Ogata, Mihai, y'all holding up all right? Chapter 78, September 1st, Part 7. And that part just launching big old thing of spit out my mouth to the front of my desktop. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, everybody holding up okay? I want to make sure. Chapter 78, September 1st, Part 7. And the bodyguards are still driving with Karapika and Uvo. We lost them.
It looks like someone landed on their car. It must be the other shadow beasts. Karapika, we'll circle back to the city.
Roger that.
Change the location to Plan C.
And they all start speeding along. Chapter 78, September 1st, Part 7. Machi! And that's the name of the person who stitched up Hisoka. They probably said her name earlier on, but I just forgot because names. There are so many of them. Machi, transmuter. She spins her aura into threads. The tensile strength of a strand will be inversely proportional to its length. A strand equivalent to cotton thread can be spun long enough to circle the globe. A strand can be strong enough to support a 1-ton weight if it's shorter than 1 millimeter. However, the strength of a thread is reduced as soon as she lets go. This is because conjurers and transmuters are not good at emission, discharging aura. And then we cut to a different building entirely. Hey,
Wake up!
and it's a building, and Uvo opens up, and he's completely bound, while he's surrounded by Karapika and company.
I'm sure you know why you're here. Where did you take the auction items? What time is it? How long have I been out?
And Dalzalin goes, you don't seem to get it.
I'm the one who'll be asking the questions!
And he goes to try and stab Uvo, but Uvo activates his own aura, activates his own Nen. And not only does he avoid damage completely, but the sword that Dalzo was about to, I'm just going to call him Dalzo, that Dalzo was about to stab him with also breaks in half.
What willpower? He knows he's about to be tortured, yet there's not a hint of apprehension in the aura around him. His unflinching spirit is the source of his impregnable aura. He's combat machine to the bone.
I still can't move. It'll take some time. I ate dinner around 8 p.m. My stomach tells me it's around midnight.
And then he starts staring, and then Uvo starts staring at Squala.
Let's make a deal. I'll spare your lives if you release me.
Huh? Say what?
I think he means it.
And this is Melody next to Squala. Is he out of his mind? He should be begging for his life.
All right. I'll go over this one more time. All we want are the items in the underground auction. You don't seem to know where they are, so we don't need you.
Yeah.
What?
And then Melody speaks up.
Wait, didn't you steal them?
The vault was empty when we got there. The shadow beasts had taken the goods away. Guess they didn't tell the rank and file.
I don't think he's lying.
And then Squala speaks up.
It's all true. His offer wasn't a bluff.
Anyone can make a mistake. We haven't taken anything yet. Just let me go and turn a blind eye to what we're about to do, and I'll spare your lives.
And Squala and Dalzo are kind of beset by both terror, but also how serious Uvo's speaking. Then Karapika speaks up.
What happened to the guests? Our colleagues were among them. Answer me.
I see. Sorry to hear that. They're all dead. That was the plan.
And then Kurapika doesn't waste any time just decking the dude in the face.
How many have died because of your selfish plans?
And Uvo's, bleeding from the nose now, is just smiling, looking at Kurapika.
Kurapika, don't! We're done with him if the goods are safe. So there's no deal.
The community can have him. This is Dalzelin of the Nostrade family. We've captured one of the thieves.
You did? How? Not even a shadow beast could.
I'll explain later. Send someone over right away.
Wait, the shadow beast couldn't?
Yes. Yes. They're all dead.
The rest of the shadow beasts showed up. They got killed. They're dead. They're all dead. Then it cuts back to the building with Kurapika. And then he gets a message that says, meet as promised, with a heart on it. And that has to be Hisoka. And then Dazzle walks in. Men from the community on their way. I'll stay here so you rest. But gas him with muscle relaxant first. In fact, give him enough for 3 men. And time passes. And we cut to Hisoka, who's in a old dilapidated building. Just messing with playing cards. And then Kurapika walks up. You're early. And Kurapika is looking at Hisoka, and he sees the aura around him.
He doesn't seem to be using Een. Don't worry, I don't intend to fight you now. Let's get to the point. Tell me about the troop. Okay, then. There are 13 spiders in all. A numbered tattoo of a spider is proof. Members can be replaced. An applicant can defeat a current member to join. Other vacancies are filled by the leader. They mainly steal and kill, though they do some philanthropic work once in a while. That much I already know. That much I know already. I replaced number 4 a couple years ago. I did it to get a chance to fight their leader alone, but it's been difficult. He's very watchful. He's always with at least 2 others. Once a job is done, he leaves without a trace. Don't you think our goals are hard to achieve by ourselves? And then Kurapika is just listening to this. What are you saying? I could tell you their abilities, though I only know 7 of them. Why don't we work together? And then we cut back to the building. We cut back to the building where Dalzo is getting a phone call going, we're in B2. And then multiple armed business suit looking mafia dudes walk in. Is he still alive? Yes, we numbed him with gas since needles won't penetrate his skin. And then Uvo looks over and goes,
The tailor makes the man.
And Dalzo's looking confused until he feels something, and that's one of these mafia dudes literally sticking his whole arm through his torso. More specifically, where the heart should be.
I can't believe my ears when I heard you were kidnapped.
And all of these people turn out to be members of the troop. They take off their masks and everything, and they put their regular clothes back on. Well, they take off whatever masks they were wearing, and they have their usual appearances. And then we have Shizuku.
Suck out the poison paralyzing Uvo.
And all the poison in Uvo's body gets sucked out, and he just sits up.
Curse that chain dude! I'll get him for this!
And it shows, and mind you, he screams so loud that Shizuku has to put her fingers up to her ears because he's being that loud. And Uvo is just so beset by rage that even Melody can sense it. And that's the end of chapter 78. Onwards to chapter 79. We're making good time here, folks. I'm already thinking of a good time to continue with Borderlands today after lunch. Chapter 79, September 2nd, Part 1. And Uvo burst through a door going, "Where is he?"
They obviously ran away.
You're too loud, Uvo.
Let's go back. We took care of the beasts.
And we got the loot.
No. Tell Crollo I can't go back until I settle the score with that chain dude.
Chapter 79, September 2nd, Part 1. Uvogin, or Uvogin. Enhancer. His only interests are strength training and winning street fights. He focuses his entire aura into his fists to produce his Big Bang impact, which has the destructive force of a small missile. His goal is to hone his punch until it creates a blast equivalent to a nuclear bomb. And then we cut back to Hisoka speaking with Kurapika.
It's your choice. Team with me, or go it alone.
And then Kurapika's phone starts ringing. And then Hisoka's all like,
Go on. It's me.
Kurapika! Number 11 got away!
What? On his own?
No, the troop came disguised as the Mafia. They must have intercepted Dalzalin's call.
Dalzalin is most likely dead.
We're moving to...
oh wait, this is Melody.
No, the troop came disguised as the Mafia. They must have intercepted Dalzalin's call. Dalzalin is most likely dead. We're moving to Plan B. Please come back.
And then Hisoka's listening to this. Hisoka's listening to this, but also Kurapika too.
Hisoka, I have one question. Do you know where the Scarlet Eyes are? Unfortunately, that was before I joined. The leader sells everything after first reveling in the spoils. I assume the Scarlet Eyes were no exception. That's all I know. But I can say that the spiders will keep going as long as their head is alive. It's not like we're getting married, just some give and take. If the terms aren't right, nobody's hand will be forced. No worries, right? So what do you say?
And then Kurapika's silent, and then he goes,
I'll give you an answer same time tomorrow.
And then we cut back to the building where Dalzalin's body is because he's still laying on the ground, eyes wide open, after being impaled through the chest. And we have Melody still trying to ring up Dalzalin, but Dalzalin is definitely not gonna... My hair itches, please forgive me. Is not going to be answering that phone anytime soon.
No answer.
You know he's dead. We heard the guy storming up the stairs, hollering for the chain dude. Escape was the right idea. So now what? Our leader is probably dead.
Oh wait. So now what? Our leader's probably dead.
We haven't fulfilled our mission. We should report back to the boss.
She's a boss in name only. She's just a kid.
Our real employer is your father, Light Nostrade. He gave the orders which Dalzalin relayed. Only Dalzalin knew how to contact him. We'll have to tell her.
And then it cuts to Neon, who's asleep in her room.
Boss?
What time is it?
2 a.m.
What? What about the auction?
It was cancelled.
Cancelled? Why?
The auction hall was attacked by a band of thieves. Ivlenkov and Tochino died at their posts. We feel Dalzalin is also dead.
What? But what about my mummy? Did it get stolen? I wanted it so bad.
And then both Squalla and Kurapika was all like, really? That's what you're only worried about?
The items were moved to a safe location.
Oh, goody! So when's the auction?
We don't know yet.
Aw, why not?
Dowselin handled all of our communications. We can't do anything by ourselves.
Don't worry. Don't ask me. I have no idea. Ask my dad. His number's in my cell.
And then Kurapika gets the cell and he goes,
Squalla, you call.
"What? Why me?"
You've been working here the longest.
"Yeah, but I'm not the type to lead. No way. I sure ain't babysitting this brat." And then we get to Melody.
Why don't we all decide as a group? It's better to make the call sooner rather than later. I nominate Kurapika.
And then everyone's looking at Melody.
He caught the spider and he's got good judgment. I think he's the most qualified among us.
I second that notion.
You're right.
Please, you have to do it.
All right. I'll talk to Mr. Nostrade as the stand-in. We'll have Mr. Nostrade make the final decision. Make the final decisions. This is only until we confirm Dalazin's demise. It would work out so quickly.
Oh, this Kurapika going,
I didn't think it would work out so quickly. Could you introduce me to him, boss?
Okay. Daddy, it's me, Neon. There's been a bit of a problem. There was a robbery at the auction house and Dowselin may have died. Here, could you talk to the stand-in? Here you go.
and then she just hands the phone back over to Kurapika.
Hello?
Is Dowselin really dead?
Yes.
I can't believe it. He uses Nen for crying out loud. You could fire 10 bullets at him and he'd walk away unscathed.
It was the Phantom Troop.
I see.
I saw one of them stop a bazooka round with his bare hand. My name is Kurapika. Could you tell me how we should proceed?
Let's hear what you think first.
We should have your daughter leave Yorknew at once. I'm not confident that we could protect her in the event of unforeseen circumstances.
I agree, but I'd like to respect Neon's wishes as well. Her safety comes first.
Her safety comes first and foremost.
Then the boss is quiet.
All right, I'll get there tomorrow evening. I'll talk to Neon myself if I have to. You will be in command now, Kurapika. Your first order is, don't take your eyes off Neon until I get there.
And then he gets off the phone and goes,
Your father will arrive tomorrow.
Really? Time for him to take me shopping.
He wants you to stay in your room until then.
Aw, but I wanted to go to the casino.
and then Kurapika calls up the front desk. Front desk?
I want to confirm the name this room is registered under.
And then we cut back to a different location where apparently they just straight up broke into someone else's home and Uvo is just drinking all of this person's beer because this dude is dead. And then they're looking up information.
Polio and Company Ltd. owns the building where you were kept.
That's a dummy company for the Nostrade family. Can you find out what other properties they have around Yorknew?
Sure. Let's also check if their men are staying at any hotels. Why don't you get a hunter license too? You can buy all sorts of information on their website.
I never carry cash, unlike you. I steal whatever I want.
An exemplary bandit.
An exemplary. I've been saying exemplary wrong this whole time. I thought it was exemplary, but it's exemplary.
An exemplary bandit.
Beep, bing, bing, bing.
Got it. They have 2 other properties with members staying at 3 hotels. You should be able to track them down by tomorrow.
Thanks, buddy! And then Uvo just kisses this guy on the forehead.
Gross! Pay me back instead!
I'll dispose of these bodies. Don't take too long.
Yup.
And he's bringing a big old bag of beer with him, too.
Uvo, be careful.
I know.
And then Uvo hops into the air like a mad beast, chugging beer and searching around.
He's probably at the muscle end of the families. He's probably at the muscle end of the family. I'll check this cheaper hotel first.
And then Kurapika is looking at the information that he asked for.
Look at this.
What is it?
The Hunter website. It lists all properties owned by the Nostrade family,
What? How?
along with all its employees. Looks like we were too recently hired to be listed yet. This room was reserved in Dalazin's name. He's on the payroll of one of the dummy companies. They'll find this room if they compare the employee list with York New Hotel registries.
Pro Hunters. What a network.
So, if the spiders look this up,
We're in danger. Get a new room for the boss.
in the same hotel?
It's quicker that way. No aliases. Use Basho or Melody's name. There's no need to check out of this room. Everyone should remain in that room.
All right. But what about you, Kurapika?
I'm staying here.
You're waiting for him?
And then Kurapika is just looking at her with serious eyes like, yes, I am. Time passes, and Uvo has made it to a completely different hotel. And he's already killing people in it.
He's probably not a member, but the boss's daughter's bodyguard.
He's probably not a member, but the boss's daughter's bodyguard.
Daughter?
Yeah, she's a freak. Collects body parts like eyeballs and guts. Oh, and her fortunes are always right. She has lots of clients in the mafia, even some of the dons.
And mind you, Uvo is holding the head of the person who's giving him this information while he's gripping tighter and tighter onto his head.
Oh, our boss got ahead because of her.
Come on, I told you so much. Please spare me, spare me.
The ability to tell the future.
And he just nonchalantly is musing and thinking to himself while he basically crushes this guy's head. He just crushes it in his hands.
The ability to tell the future. Krola was right. There was no traitor among us.
And that's the end of chapter 79. Why is my hair itching? I gotta wash it when I get the chance. I gotta wash it. Yeah, there's nothing. It's just itching. Yeah, I gotta wash it. But that's the end of chapter 79, onwards to chapter 80. And we're going all the way up to 83. Chapter 80, September 2nd, part 2.
We currently have a diamond ring worth $3 million and $2.4 million in cash, plus $2.75 million we made from arm wrestling. A total budget of $8 million Jenny.
And this is Leorio speaking to Gon and Killua.
We have to get this up to $900 million to make the minimum bid. It ain't happening through legit means.
Arm wrestling wasn't very legit either.
We only got losers bent on a rematch in the last hours.
I bet the rumors will keep people away today.
The more exaggerated the rumors, the better. That was my plan all along.
Huh?
The arm wrestling was bait to lure the moles from the ground.
Chapter 80, September 2nd, Part 2. Hisoka, Transmuter. He turns his aura into a sticky rubber-like substance to make bungee gum. Texture Surprise reproduces various textures like a sticker. Bungee gum snaps back with greater force the more it's stretched. But if detached from Hisoka's body, it will tear apart after a maximum stretch of 10 millimeters. And then we get Leorio. Step right up! We have a contest here. The prize is a diamond ring worth $3 million. The game is arm wrestling. The first one to beat this boy gets the ring. And then onlookers are going, it's just a kid. Want to give it a try?
No way, he beat 500 guys yesterday.
What? $20. 20 guys got their odds broken. He was raised by a gorilla.
Rumors have taken on a life of their own.
And this is Leorio.
This kind of auction arose from illegitimate means to begin with. There's bound to be a betting pool in the sidelines, gambling on the outcome.
And then some very tall individual is behind this crowd going,
Step aside. I'll do it.
and he's taller than Leorio. And he goes,
I'll do it. How's this gonna work? Your arm doesn't reach.
and he's looking at Gon, and mind you, his arm is 3 times the size of Gon's arm.
Gon, let's switch. Don't mean to complain, but that's not the game.
I know. 5 million, plus the ring. All yours if you beat me. Is that good enough? And then Big Dude is looking. Because he also has, like, there's two people making their way through the crowd. And one dude looks at the guy who's about to arm wrestle with an arm that's leagues bigger than Leorio's. Is that enough? And he nods and he's just like, let's go through with it. And then we get someone who's going, ready? Go! And Leorio, in a shocking feat of strength, not only does he beat the guy in arm wrestling, but he also breaks his arm and the table. Leorio done got stronger. Okay, Leorio. Anyone else? Yeah! There goes business. Guess we'll have to pack up. You're one tough guy. I like you. 2. Those 2 are even tougher. Oh? If you have time to kill, stop by here by 5 p.m. And dude just leaves him a card, while the other guy who just lost the match is holding his arm after it just got broken. And Leorio is looking at this card that this guy left, and it looks like a map that goes to someplace. We've hooked a fish, and it may be a big one. And we get there, and there's tons of people. Tons of people inside of this building now. And there's announcers everywhere. It looks like a giant casino. Take the elevator all the way down. It's about to start. And they take it down, and it's a crowd of people inside of an auditorium where a boxing ring is in the middle of it. And then we get Killua. This crowd wants blood. And then there's a timer. And then a dude, a dude with a very extravagant look goes, "Welcome everyone! I'd like to get this conditional auction started. The name of the game is Hide and Seek." Hide and Seek? And numerous people with, like, tattoos over their eyes or bands over their faces, like painted marks over their eyes and spiky hair, they start walking around and start handing out pieces of paper to everybody. Check out the pictures we've handed out. Your targets are those 7 guys and gals. And they start handing them out, and the faces on them is members of the Phantom Troop. Uvo, Shizuko, Phaeton, Machi, Franklin, and the 2 other people whose names haven't been revealed yet. I've seen her before. She came to arm wrestle. Your goal is to capture the targets and bring them to us. We'll give you a check for 200 million Jenny for each one. There's no deadline. We'll take the targets dead or alive. Your methods are up to you. We won't ask. You don't tell. Contact the number listed once you have them. And then we get going.
200 million for one?
1.4 billion if we get them all. And we get Killua, who's just looking at this list. The registration fee is 5 million. If you're not up to the task, please return the flyer to the staff. And Leorio is smiling while Killua is still focusing on this wanted poster, and Go's just looking at him. And they give their money over so that way they can take part into it. Yeah, we'll fax it to you. Get info on the net. Say we'll offer a reward for tips. Let's hurry. Ow, I scratched the side of my face. Let's hurry.
No need to rush. They'll get nowhere. Even the Mafia's having a difficult time.
What do you mean?
They called it a contest, but this is obviously bounty hunting. The Mafia's basically admitting that they can't capture them by themselves. Did you see the ring set up back there? I bet their original plan was to have some kind of mindless bout. But they suddenly needed to find these guys? Right. No matter how much time and money it took. They barely pretended to be a contest by taking a registration fee. Besides, don't you think it's odd that the prize is a check?
There were no prizes because these guys stole them, and the Mafia was forced to put bounties on the thieves' heads.
Yeah, you'd have to be crazy to steal the Mafia's loot, but we know people who just might do it. The Phantom Troop.
And that's when it has that dramatic pause. And it shows Gon, Killua, and Leorio.
Speaking of which, where's Karapika? Oh yeah, he should be here by now. We haven't gotten a call.
And Gon starts trying to ring up Karapika. And we see a building. And the ringing continues as it cuts to a set of stairs. Then we see someone walking up the stairs as the phone continues to ring. And then the ringing continues as Karapika is standing in this room by himself. Then the ringing continues as the door opens to this room and Karapika is face to face with Uvo.
On your own? I'm impressed. Where do you want to die? I'll let you choose.
Someplace remote where we won't cause a nuisance. I get the feeling your final moments will be raucous.
He's not answering.
Must be on the job. What does he do?
He's a bodyguard. That's all he told me.
Probably for a VIP. Someone in the underworld, naturally, since he's after the Scarlet Eyes.
Maybe he went to the auction with the VIP and got caught up in the crime.
Not caught up. If this really is the troop, he'd get himself involved. He might have captured a few of them by now.
I hope so.
My dad.
Hmm?
He killed one of the spiders for a job before. He complained that the pay wasn't worth it. That's the highest compliment he gives to a target. And he told us.
Stay away from the troop.
That was 3 years ago.
Did you tell Karapika?
No, there's no point.
The question is what we should do.
Pretty much.
I'll go for it. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
And that is the end of chapter 80. Onwards to chapter 81. Karapika is face to face with Uvo. And now the rest of the crew is trying to find out, okay, what do we got to do now? What are we going to do now? Because things are not looking up. Things are not good right now. Chapter 81, September 2nd, Part 3. And it cuts to Gon outside as he's still trying to find Karapika. Or he's trying to find some of these Phantom Troop targets.
No sign of the target at point A. How about you guys?
And Leorio's in a completely different spot, and Killua's in the airport. The same at point B.
Nothing at point C.
And then they meet up.
Nothing after 4 hours.
As expected.
What? Are you dissing my plan?
No. Well, yeah. It just wasn't likely. These are bandits we're dealing with. They're not gonna appear in public when they know the Mafia's after them. We don't even know if they're still in New York now.
The Hunster website was charging $100 million for their information. We can't afford it.
I bet they charge even more for individual details. We'll have to find them on our own.
Maybe we'll do good. Maybe we'll go door to door.
That only works when you have enough people.
So have you reached Karapika?
No, he must have turned off his phone.
I bet he'd have more information.
If he shared it with us.
Huh? Sure he would.
I'm not so sure. I don't think he wants our help. Or else he would have called.
And then we get Gon.
Let's just keep going by ourselves for now. I'm sure we'll get through when we really need his help, and I'm sure he'll call when he really needs us. Yeah. Let's check our home codes to see if we got tips.
Oh wait, let's check our home codes to see if we got tips.
Okay.
And then we cut to a different section of land. We're out in the desert where Uvo and Karapika are in this valley. And Uvo is relieving himself, noting what the other guy told him about these leeches getting out of his body.
Oh, it's really white. Wow. These are all eggs? Yuck.
And then when he's done, he walks over to Karapika.
Sorry for the holdup.
And Karapika is standing there, JoJo posing, while the air is whipping through his clothes. And both of them start to use Nen and envelop their body in an aura.
I have one question.
And he starts crushing a can of beer in his hands until it's nothing but a small pebble.
Who are you? I feel an extraordinary determination in your Nen.
To answer you, I need to ask you in return. Do you remember those you've killed?
Some, if they made a lasting impression. So this is a vendetta. Who is it for?
The Kurta clan.
Who?
We lived in Luxo province, or Luxo province, 5 years ago. You attacked us for our scarlet eyes.
Scarlet eyes? Is that some kind of jewel? Sorry, I don't remember. 5 years ago, I would have been there.
When you kill people who have done you no wrong, how do you feel? What goes through your mind?
Nothing really.
And then that just makes Karapika more and more upset.
Scum. Pay for your sins with your life.
And then Uvo, seeing that Karapika is getting serious, he powers up as well. And that's the end of chapter 81. Onwards to chapter 82, we're almost done. Chapter 82, September 2nd, part 4. And it shows Uvo powering up still.
This is what makes killing people so addictive. You know what gives me the most pleasure? Taking Avengers like you and smacking them down!
And he goes to try and punch Karapika.
Ha! Rock Storm!
And he punches the ground hard enough to send massive chunks of rock flying towards Karapika while he's airborne. Mind you, Karapika is in the opposite direction of where this attack went.
Chain jail.
And he whips a chain out towards Uvo, but Uvo sees it and he dodges out of the way.
That chain means trouble. I don't know what voodoo he used, but that chain's infused with an improbable amount of Nen.
And then Karapika motions for his chain again, and then Uvo's dodging it to avoid that chain actually touching him.
There's only one solution. Offense is the best defense!
And he just rushes Karapika. Yeah, he rushes Karapika and lands the hit while Karapika braces. And he sends Karapika flying just a couple of meters away. But then there's a chain in the air while Uvo goes,
Gotcha!
and Karapika's looking as he whips his chain forward, and Uvo dodges out of the way, and it just lands a short distance away from him.
You still had the energy to strike back after taking that punch? But his left arm's busted.
And he looks over at Karapika. After sending him flying like that, Karapika is completely fine, and he's swinging his arm back and forth as if nothing happened to him at all.
He's unscathed? How is that possible? Only manipulators or conjurers could infuse so much nen in those chains. He's probably the former, but only enhancers could reinforce their flesh enough to block my fist. What is this? What is he?
And then Kurapika looks over at him and goes,
Was that punch the best you could do?
and then Uvo gets upset and his eyes start to get like bloodshot veins off to the side. And veins start to pop over his head, his cheek, his face, because this dude's getting upset.
Is that supposed to be funny? Don't worry, I'd say that was 20%. I'll try 50% for you.
And he starts walking towards Kurapika and dashes towards him. And when he tries to hit Kurapika, Kurapika's gone behind Uvo and lands a solid blow to the back of his head. And when that happens, Uvo tries to turn his head in the same direction as Kurapika, but then Kurapika kicks him in the spine and sends him flying.
Why, you?
And while he's looking behind him, Kurapika is now above him. And then lands with both feet on his back.
Above me!
And he tries to grab Kurapika, but Kurapika is just so incredibly fast that Uvo can only grab where Kurapika has been and not where he's going to be.
You little squirrel! You know what?
You'll regret that you didn't use the chain just now. Stop wasting my time. Use your full power.
And then Uvo gets majorly serious.
You want it? Fine.
Full throttle! And he lets out all of this power. And his muscles look like they're bulging even more.
That's some intense aura.
And then Uvo punches the ground with such force, it creates this enormous smoke screen, this enormous dust cloud around them.
A smokescreen? His aura's gone.
And he's trying to search for the aura of Uvo, but Uvo is right behind him, preparing to strike. And Kurapika looks backwards and tries to block his fist, tries to block Uvo's fist with his arm, but instead of it being something that he just shrugs off, his entire arm starts to crack under pressure. There's a cracking sound and a snapping sound that's happening, and he sends Kurapika flying into the air.
I shattered it this time.
No explosed. No explosed. No explosed. No explosed.
No exposed flesh can stop my Big Bang impact at full power. I was aiming to snap your backbone, but you were quick to react, I'll give you that. You noticed imperceptible changes in the dust cloud, dust out of the corner of your eye.
I didn't think you could use Een, I'll give you that. So stirring up dust wasn't just to hide your body. You did it to erase all signs of approach. However, I too can use Een.
And then Uvo starts wobbling, because something's happened.
Don't tell me.
And now Uvo is completely bound in chains.
Chain jail, the restraining middle finger. See it? So you can use Gyo too. These chains have been conjured out of Nen, therefore I can make it invisible.
You always had it conjured to make it seem like actual chains.
Yes, if I pretend to be a manipulator with real chains, the enemy will only watch out for visible chains. And you just proved it. The chain was already around you when you were about to deliver your silly bluff.
And all of a sudden, Uvo is beset by enormous amounts of electric shocks.
It is done. The capture phase is complete.
And that's the end of chapter 82. Even though he got his arm punched officially this time by Uvo, he flexed on Uvo like it was not even a fight at all. just ignored everything he did, dodged it, and still managed to hold on to him. But that's the end of chapter 82. Onwards to the last chapter of this particular reading today, chapter 83, September 2nd, part 2. And I think we're in the middle of a flashback where Kurapika is finding out what type of nen user he is.
Looks like you're a conjurer. You're good at materializing things. You can't change what you were born with. I see. I was hoping I'd be an enhancer. You could still learn enhancement techniques. Let's go over a little of this today.
Chapter 83, September 2nd, part 5. And Uvo is restrained by Kurapika.
An enhancer's defenses? The strength of Nen in the conjured chain. How? He maximized both enhancement and conjuration abilities. That's not possible. Someone can achieve 100% mastery only in the type they were born with.
You look stumped. I'll explain it to you as a parting gift before I send you into the underworld. For now, I'm a specialist.
And then we cut back to the flashback where Kurapika was training.
Let's say you have the aptitude to achieve 100% mastery of conjuration abilities. The maximum level of mastery you could hope for other abilities. The maximum level of mastery you could hope for other abilities looks like this. And this man is drawing what Nen means and its categories and the percentage of mastery it takes for a lot of them, or how much mastery you would exude over them. He's saying all of this to Kurapika back then. And it shows enhancement, 60%, transmutation, 80%, conjuration, 100%, special, 0%, manipulation, 60%, and emission, 40%. You can't completely master other abilities, no matter how good a learner you are. The further it is from your own type, the less you acquire. It's not something you can try to learn. The trait is usually inherited. Growing up under special circumstances can have an effect on it as well. And then Kurapika said, "Why is special 0%? It's not something you can try to learn. The trait is usually inherited. Growing up under special circumstances can have an effect on it as well. It's placed here because it's more likely for conjurers and manipulators to turn into specialists later in life. So you still have a chance, in a way. You told me before you wanted the power to fight to the end by yourself."
And Kurapika doesn't say anything to this guy.
You're right. Enhancement abilities should be a priority. They can reinforce offense, defense, and healing most efficiently. But as a conjurer, you're only able to master half the enhancement abilities at half their potency.
It was this guy talking the whole time, but I couldn't tell because they didn't draw him with like the same face. Like he had like a low-res face, but this is the same guy that was talking to Kurapika at the beginning of the chapter.
You're right. Enhancement abilities should be a priority. They can reinforce offense, defense, and healing most efficiently. But as a conjurer, you're only able to master half the enhancement abilities at half their potency. For example, say you were in a battle and say both you and your enemy's physical strengths have a value of 100. The enemy is an enhancer with 100% mastery, and he, as he powers up with Nen to show Kurapika, nothing like a good visual aid, and he reinforces his fist with 100% of his Nen and punches you with all he's got. This would be the equation. Flesh punch AP 100 plus Nen. Nen enforcement SP plus 100 equals 200. Equals 200. This would be the equation that represents it. With your Nen abilities, you can only reinforce the body with 60% efficiency. And then we have physical defense, DP 100, and Nen reinforcement, SP
60, which equals 160. In other words, you get damage worth 40 points, even if you block the attack. If you get in a fist fight with a Master Enhancer, you'll have little chance. Of course, this is overly simplified. Nobody's exactly equal in strength. How you feel day to day will affect you, as well as where you're fighting and its context. Nen is even more complex. Joy, sadness, fear, hatred, carelessness, devotion, excitement, doubt, pleasure, shame, determination, all the emotions you're capable of factoring in, factor into Nen. I'm surprised I managed to get through all of those without flubbing a line there. Well, the joy down to determination part. The rest of it, yeah. It might enable something beyond 100%, but that's never a good thing, especially in combat. Using powers beyond your capacity will always cause strain. It will become a weakness, perhaps fatal. You need consistent power to always come out on top. And then back with Kurapika again. Would being consistent as a conjurer help me in a battle against a Master Enhancer? Tough question. A conjurer is often not as balanced in offense and defense compared to an enhancer. On the other hand, you could be formidable if you find your groove. Here's a question for you. Conjuring a sword that can cut anything. Is that possible? No, it's not. Why? It's beyond human capacity. Exactly. There are things you can't conjure even with 100% mastery. You can conjure a sword simply with a durable sharp blade, but you might as well buy yourself an actual high-quality sword. No training involved, though you can't make it appear and disappear at will. It's pointless to conjure something that already exists, but you can't conjure something overly supernatural. It's difficult for conjurers to be combat effective. You'll have to decide what to conjure only after careful consideration. A mistake is not an option. It takes incredible concentration, training, and time to conjure something at will. And then Kurapika says, I want chains. Chains? Yes. When you said I was a conjurer, that was the first thing that came to mind. Chains, huh? I wonder why. Because there are people at large who need to be chained. And then the dude just continues to look at Kurapika. Really? I thought you were the one who's bound. What do you know? Hey, I'm not done yet. Don't you walk away. And yeah, Kurapika is not okay with that answer, so he just starts walking away. Hey, I'm not done yet. Don't you walk away. I told you it's pointless to conjure a regular chain. No respect for your teacher, and it's impossible to conjure an unbreakable chain. And then he catches up to Kurapika another day. What's new? You never listen. You can't make an unbreakable chain, but you could come very close. And that catches Kurapika's attention. Really? Your ears only hear what they want, huh? What do I do? Make a contract with self-imposed limitations. And then we cut back to the present, where Kurapika is holding on to Uvo, and his eyes have gone from the colors they were before to red. I become a specialist only when my eyes turn scarlet.
Those eyes! Now I remember! Their eyes turned red when they got mad. They were hiding out in some backwoods. Crollo took quite a liking to those eyes. That was a major task. They were pretty powerful. So you're the last one!
Perfect timing. We're almost done with this, and food is almost on the way. But Uvo goes,
That was a major task. They were pretty powerful, so you're the last one. Which is more powerful, your grudge or me? Bring it on!
and Karapika is just looking at him, and he starts powering up with Nen.
Filthy cur. Is that all you think about? You could never sever these chains.
And he starts channeling his Nen into his chains. And then Uvo goes,
You think so? You never know!
and he's trying to flex himself with his own Nen, but the chains aren't moving. And then we cut back to another flashback while he's still training with his Nen Master.
A contract?
Decide on a condition and swear that you will abide by it. The stricter the limitation, the more power your ability will gain from it. Just like from poker or mahjong, the more difficult the hand, the more it's worth. If applying Nen adds to your power, a Nen contract multiplies it. Your power will skyrocket. Make a condition for your chains, something that you can keep. Be warned, this is a double-edged sword. If you break your vow, the backlash might wipe out your Nen abilities entirely. And then Karapika is looking over at a spider, specifically an orb weaver. I recognize the body shape. An orb weaver spider in the distance.
My goal is to capture the spiders and to find the eyes of my brethren. I want chains that will hold a spider and never allow it to escape. I only need it to use it on the spiders.
So you'd restrict your target. That's a bit weak.
Don't get ahead of me. That's only the beginning.
Then what else you got? And his master's kind of curious. And Karapika looks at him while his eyes start to glow red because that fury within him is real.
I'll stake my life on it.
And then his master's looking at him, and he goes,
Karapika, your aura looks bigger while your eyes are scarlet.
Hold on, try the water divination again.
I wonder.
And then it cuts back to the present.
Darn it! What the heck?
And then we cut to Karapika, who's staring at Uvo with his eyes scarlet. What in the world was that? Who's staring at him with his eyes being scarlet going,
My specialist ability allows me to utilize 100% of all types of Nen. Emperor time. Absolute mastery.
And that is the end of chapter 83, bruh. What? I forgot that this is what Karapika could do. His specialist ability allows him to use 100% of all types of Nen. Emperor time. Absolute mastery. I love that name. I love that title. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of chapter 83, and that marks the end of... Oh, snap. I didn't even... First of all, let me apologize, because I was looking at chat, and I thought that none of you guys were saying anything the whole time, but it turns out that it didn't even update chat to what you guys said. Ogatas, yep, I'm loving it. Wow, way to go, Leorio. It didn't even... I didn't even see all that for the past hour. Please forgive me. And Mihai, you say you're good? Yeah, good. Okay, cool. This was so good. Yeah, this was a really good volume. Finding out more names about the Phantom Troop and the strength of them as well. Finding out some of their abilities thanks to the little info cards that we got at some of the chapters, like the capabilities of Franklin and Uvo and Shizuku and Machi. All of these different members of the Phantom Troop. And then we have Leorio, who shows that he's gotten stronger. Though he's not on the level of Gon and Killua, he's still strong enough to where a dude that's twice his size, he is able to arm wrestle him, break his arm, and break the table where they were wrestling on. But also, can we talk about Kurapika? This dude is walking in here with absolute calm, absolute focus, and he's all like, I'm gonna bring him down. No, it's dangerous, because we saw Uvo basically massacre a good deal of the Shadow Beasts. And then we heard that the rest of the Phantom Troop massacred the rest of the Shadow Beasts. Dude literally bit off part of a man's head with just one bite. Just like this. I want to say this because he was right next to Uvo's left shoulder. So all of this, all of that is just gone. All of that is gone. So not only that, but he's capable of screaming loud enough to burst the eardrums of a person. And he's able to throw a rock with enough force to kill a person. Please tell me my nose not bleeding again. I think I'm good, but I'm gonna be careful. But all of that power, and when he goes up against Kurapika, he's not able to break any of his chains, and he can't understand it. His goal in life is to make it so that his big bang impact attacks are capable of having the same output force of a nuclear explosion. And for all of that strength, he is not able to break the chains of Kurapika, because Kurapika has shown himself to be so adept with Nen that he has the capacity to access 100% of all Nen types. And the dude is chill. That's the scary thing about all of this, Ogata. He's chill while he's fighting pretty much the most physically powerful of all of the Phantom Troop. And he's fighting him with one chain. With chain jail. Restraining middle finger. And he's all like, I have all of this. So nothing that Uvo can do is working against him. I can break it. It's almost like that little old YouTube video from early on in the day of YouTube where it was this little person who was getting arrested. And he says, like, I can break these cuffs. You can't break these cuffs. And he couldn't break the cuffs. That is literally Uvogin in this. I don't know the correct way to say his name. How do you say his name? Uvogin? Uvogin? Am I saying it wrong? I think like I am. I'll probably have to look up the pronunciation later. But that's where finding out that this is how powerful Kurapika can get. That is so interesting. I can't wait to read next week's volume for this. But this is where I'll call it a session, ladies and gentlemen. I'll take a break where I'll eat some lunch, and then we'll continue with more Borderlands 4. I was looking ahead, like you guys can see me here, but you're right there. Well, then we'll get back to Borderlands 4 a little bit later on, so I can advance my next Ultimate Vault Hunter rank, and also explore more areas and find more bosses to fight, because I really want to get a whole bunch more gear and actually farm for some good gear as well. And well, we'll just continue to work on it until I reach Ultimate Vault Hunter rank 5, and then we'll start doing some side missions that I haven't really touched ever since, my last stream or whatever. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in to today's session of Hunter x Hunter. Once again, I'm eternally grateful to Ravi for suggesting this series. And I'm eternally grateful for all the support that you guys have shown me today. I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and I really do hope you enjoyed yourself. Tomorrow will be the Member Summit for all members, so be sure to tune in, because there's going to be some things we discuss concerning October's events. That I put out a channel update video for October, so if you get the chance, check that out so you guys know what's going to be happening this month, but also what could be possibly happening in the next month. But for the Member Summit tomorrow, we'll be discussing things a lot more personal for the channel as a whole, and I really want you members to be there, so that way your input can be heard, so that it also determines certain things that happen on the channel as it moves forward. So I thank you all for that. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Even check out my Patreon, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!